15 minutes, but then you guys will watch this ladder safety training. So we're not gonna go necessarily in order, so we're gonna start with the Appleton stuff first. Then we'll kind of go with maybe some of the good and what needs improvement, and then you guys will watch the ladder safety training. Good deal. Okay, so I'm having a call at 10 o'clock with the customer. We're on for this job. It's baseboards. Okay, it's about an hour and 40 minutes to get up there, so I'm gonna say, let's budget 2 hours. We're gonna go right to the job site. I'll meet you guys at the job site, because I'm gonna go up and visit my mom over the weekend, and she lives like 40 minutes away, so I'll just meet you guys at the job site. Let's plan on being there at least by, 8:45, so probably have to leave here by 7. Now, it's not like a 9 o'clock start, but like, let's, leave here by 7 o'clock.
El trabajo va a ser ahí en Appleton, que es como a 2 horas de aquí, y vamos a comenzar como a las 7.
So we'll probably just stay on this until like when we'll come back. Like I'll show you the photos. So the areas. So it's an hour and 45 minutes to get up there. I know it's hard to see. Its areas are just all the baseboards and window trim, all the cabinets, kitchen and bath. There's also a gun cabinet in an office with glass in it too. We're painting that. All the doors and door frames, and then there's 2 areas with walls. We're painting this huge garage, and then there's a sunroom.
Va a ser ventanas que hay que pintar, gabinetes en la cocina, en el baño, hacer puertas en el garaje y toda la casa básicamente y para las paredes.
So we're gonna talk about probably breaking these up into units, like 2-person teams or whatever, or 3 people, like 2 people probably in charge of baseboards and window trim. We'll talk about that. We don't know yet. We're gonna figure out assigning people that you'll only work on that the entire time.
So el pastor tal vez va a hacer 2 grupos y me va a asignar qué vas a hacer.
So I'm gonna put everybody up at the La Quinta Inn and Suites in Appleton. It's here by the Fox River Mall. I know this is very hard to see. I'll see if I can zoom in. There's gonna be 2 people per room. It's a suite with a separate living area outside the bedroom. Like if somebody wanted to stay up and watch TV and somebody wanted to go to the bed, they can shut the door for the bedroom, and then there's a sofa out there and a TV. And then there's free breakfast at the hotel. I'm gonna have lunch brought to the job site every day. We'll just make decisions on what you guys want. Everybody's gonna get $100 in cash from me for dinner. $25 per dinner, that you guys can, go out and eat dinner. Maybe one night we'll do a group dinner and I'll just pick it up, but I'll still give you guys the 25.
Entonces él lo va a meter en la quinta, es un hotel que tiene desayuno gratis y él nos va a dar almuerzo, él nos va a pagar por el almuerzo y nos va a dar $25 para...
There is a pool and a hot tub there, so in case, you want to sit in the hot tub.
Hay piscina y jacuzzi o whatever, y los cuartos están separados, no están juntos como a veces un hotel, por si alguien quiere ver televisión, hacer cualquier cosa, pues cada quien tiene su privacidad.
So just if you want to do that, bring up a pair of swimming trunks or shorts or something if you want to sit in the hot tub. And then if we meet budget and finish by Friday, everybody's gonna get a $150 cash bonus per person. That's gonna just be like non-taxable, $150.
Si terminamos a tiempo, entonces todos nos vamos a agarrar un bono de 150.
And then overtime is available too. We'll probably be working long. Well, I'll talk to the customer at 10, so I'm gonna find out. We're gonna build a portable spray booth and set it up in one of his. He's got a bunch of garages.
Garages?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of garages. So
it's like maybe a farm place or something?
It's just out in the country. So it's 15 minutes from the hotel, or 15 minutes from the hotel. Here's the hotel to get to this guy's house. It's 15 minutes away. It says 12, but it's 15. So we're just gonna set up. He's having his garage floor poured though, today and tomorrow. It's supposed to be done by the 29th, the day we get there. So I don't know, but he's got a bunch of other separate garages. I'll find out more.
Okay.
It's just a house out in the country. But
They don't have neighbors and stuff.
well, they got neighbors, but they're
Far.
far. But around, like where you're staying, this is a mall. There's a ton of different places to go eat. I mean, there's like Golden Corral buffet. There's a Mongolian buffet. There's a bunch of different places. Right.
They are close from the hotel too?
Yeah, right here. I mean, you're gonna have to drive. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to walk around here because there's not as many sidewalks. So, but there's a ton of eating places. There's a Chick-fil-A right across the street from the La Quinta Inn. You know, there's a Quick Trip right across the street from La Quinta Inn. But there's a bunch of well, not that you're gonna need it, but I mean, you know, I'll buy lunch and stuff. And there's breakfast at the hotel. But there's a ton of eating places right around, you know, within 5 minutes of the hotel. Okay.
Sí, hay sitios de comida alrededor, cerquita, que no vamos a...
So this is the place, right? So I think this is the garage. So like we got to paint all these door frames and stuff. Here's the garage we have to paint. He's having this floor probably be poured, but we're painting the walls and the ceilings in here. And I think all this stuff's out of the garage because they poured the floor. Like he moved all this stuff out already because they put a floor in the garage, right? So we won't have to probably worry about doing any of that stuff.
They have heater, which is good for the dry
Yeah.
and stuff.
Right. So here's the kitchen cabinets. I gotta ask him about the green look though. You know, Tony did. If we got a bunch of that aqua coat, if we have to, I don't know. Like, well, I'm just saying, like, I don't.
Even though recommended that.
What?
Do not recommended that.
You know, okay. Here's the kitchen cabinets, right? So we're painting all these cabinets. They haven't decided on a color as of yet. We're not painting these doors though. Those glass doors back there.
Mhm.
Those are just getting taken off supposedly, but we gotta paint frames.
Oh, the glass doors?
Yeah, we're not painting those glass doors, but here's like all these other doors, we're painting all these other doors.
They're hardwood, right?
Yeah,
They look like hardwood.
and all the baseboards, right? So all the baseboards, all the doors,
Any carpeting around? Just everything is hardwood or
there's
tile?
we're painting these bathroom cabinets. This, you know, all these door frames. Those cabinets there, like in that area. These cabinets in the washroom. We might have to have 3 people on cabinets at least. So like, and then this room we're painting all these window frames and baseboards, right? So I mean, the first day is just gonna be prep stripping.
doors and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to ask him about like ability to leave stuff up too. You know,
Yeah, we have to leave stuff.
we have to
there.
leave, you know, because otherwise we'll just spend so much time on setup and takedown. But like
So they leave in there when we.
well, they're living there when we're there.
Okay.
I mean, I'll find out more at 10 o'clock because again, I didn't talk to this guy, but
How many people are leaving that house in the house?
I don't know yet, man. I don't have any information except what Tony told. Like we're not painting this fireplace mantle, but like this thing's got to get stripped and painted. And, you know, all these baseboards, obviously. Those doors. It's like here's some kid's room, like the doors in there. I mean the window
We have
frames.
crown molding,
No, we're not touching that.
so we have to cover just to protect them, right?
Yeah. These doors, window frame. So here's room with carpeting. So we got baseboards in here. We're gonna have to be attentive to. You know. These cabinets in this room. I forgot. I gotta ask him about this mirror for doing that medicine cabinet and stripping that thing.
Okay.
We're definitely bringing up the HVLP sprayer, the big one.
So is it the cap sprayer or?
The cap sprayer. We'll bring up the big cap sprayer because then we can use the cap sprayer to spray the cabinets with.
Okay.
And then use the quick shots for I might see if Valera's got a quick shot I can use too to try to get through.
Talk to her about T7 or A finish. They are like a $90 each, but they are more fine than
Okay.
the.
Well, send me a text to remind me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But here, this is the like these cabinets here. You know, the crown molding, I think, in this room and the baseboards and you know, so the other thing is we're gonna probably have to, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna attack certain rooms, right?
Mhm.
Like we're not gonna blow the whole place up,
Mhm.
we're gonna go like, okay, we'll take care,
Sections.
we're gonna section it off, and then, you know, then like say the day we're doing the final top coat, or other rooms we're prepping, like we're stripping off, and then, you know,
Algunas fotos.
I think there's 28 doors, Tony said.
Dice que son 28 puertas.
Yeah, it's a kind of slow job because they are living in the
Yeah,
house.
we get, so this is the gun cabinet, we gotta
Tiene
paint,
una estación para
and the inside, he's taking, I mean,
They have guns inside
Tony
there.
told him to take all the guns out,
Okay.
but we gotta take this whole thing's gotta get painted, right?
Sí, pero son 28.
But this thing has to go like, we gotta, I mean, I know you guys do a great job, but like this has gotta be like 10 on 10 as far as quality goes, because, you know,
Este trabajo de
He's
It's
painting-
a detailing job.
what?
It's a detailing job. Everywhere is something.
Yeah,
You know, many doors, many windows.
I mean, we have 2 weeks to get this done, but I really want to go back up there. If we gotta send a couple people back up, you know, the following week,
I think the main, you know, because paint walls and cities kind of
una semana.
easy just for
Right.
saying, but the hardest is cabinet, twin
Yeah.
base door, front door,
Yeah.
windows.
right?
If we tag that, I think other stuff is more easier.
Yeah.
They have a light in the ceiling back.
So that, we're gonna, I think okay, this is what's happening, Tony just told me. The electrician's taking this down, so there could be some repair,
In the ceiling.
and we might, but the problem is, this ceiling just goes on and on and on. It's an open concept.
Supuestamente
You know, it sounds like it's
la luz.
2 doors going into the kitchen,
Va a haber una-
so we're gonna have to assess it when we get up there and see, you know.
Okay.
Pero tal vez hay que quitar ese techo.
Okay.
So any big or major repair we have to do in ceilings or walls? Cracks or-
No, there's only the place we're doing, the only place we're painting walls is the garage and this sunroom.
Solo hay dos lugares que hay que pintar paredes.
So what do you
El
mean?
garage
We focus more
Right
in
here.
we focus more in baseboards and stuff, but we don't have to paint ceiling or.
No, there's no, we're not, only place we're painting the walls is this room and the garage.
That's more interesting because we
What?
can mess it up with the tape or
What?
we can mess some, you know, we can, when we put the tape just to paint around the baseboards and
I
stuff.
know we can mess up the walls.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna have to use that yellow tape, that really delicate, sensitive tape. We're not gonna use, we're gonna use that yellow tape that's
Mm-hmm.
uber sensitive, you know.
So in the garage, we're only painting walls then?
I think it's walls and ceilings, but I'll find out. I mean, so that what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do, we're
Yeah,
gonna
the project need more all the framing,
frames and the doors and like, you know,
cabinets.
we're gonna set like, so that we're gonna set expectations, like, you know, like, we're gonna, man and I are gonna sit down and build out a schedule, and it's gonna like, you know, day 1, you know, get all the doors off, you know, prepping the doors, we're gonna have to make sure that, I gotta ask them, like, we gotta clean, you know, a lot of times what happens, right? Grease, crap builds up, like the doors gotta get cleaned,
Mhm.
then stripped, primed, 2 top coats. Same thing, like the frames too, right? So like, we gotta clean it a little bit, strip it off with the stripper, you know. I might see if I can get another festool too, just to have 2 festools if we need it, right?
For, first of all,
Well, just to have it up there in case we gotta sand something down, you know. But, we have 2 weeks, but I really don't wanna go up there the second week. So right now, it's like you 3, Claudio said Joe will come, that's 5.
36.
He said Claudio told me that Joe has an extra friend he could bring, so that would be 7.
Is
Yeah.
that coming or no?
I mean, he told me, I think so, I mean, I planned on it, but.
I mean, yeah, thinking in a bunch of people for the first maybe 2 days. Probably in the first 2 days we can just prep. You know, like you said, sometimes we can just start, let's say, 3 to 4 rooms the same day. You know, with those bunch of people with paper plugs, and so probably we can cover by midday the first day cover
Yeah.
rooms, which
Yeah.
means we can just
Strip,
strip and put primer, clean vacuum, all that.
Right.
Probably the first day for 2 o'clock per se, maybe we can have primer in those. We
Right.
said that the other day we can just paint it.
Yep.
But, you know, we need the access, at the same time we advance, because if we bring like 7 or 8 people, at some point, because it's only based
Somebody
on,
may be sitting around,
Yeah.
right,
you know, could be happening.
right.
But if,
So we're
if they give us full access in where we can just, if we tag more fast some places,
Yeah.
we just can skip for the other and keep prepping and start doing
Yeah.
something.
And that's, so when I talked to him today, I'm gonna ask him like, you know, I mean, I'll try to talk to Tony, how many people are living there? What rooms do we like really need, like, you know, like, I'm gonna build out a project plan to give to him so he knows, like, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird usually for a big, especially interior project, usually the customers are not there.
Oh,
You know?
right,
By chance, you can ask them too if they have those colors of paint codes in case, some kind of overspray or,
okay,
I don't like too much the low impact tape like yellow or scout or something like that, because sometimes in between, the paint goes, the paint cone go below
okay.
and could, you know, it's not much, but, you know.
Right. Okay, so that's that. We'll have more details on that. Now I'm gonna pull this video up.
Joy, Edwin, tú y yo.
Okay, so this is gonna last about 30 minutes, then I'll come back,
Okay.
cause I gotta be on the call with this guy.
How long is that video?
It's like 30 minutes.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Appreciate everyone giving their time to
Come on, don't stall.
It's pause, I think, or no?
No,
No, está.
it's just,
You got the internet, the church internet?
yeah. Great. This must be Tony. Hello? Yeah, yeah, how are you, sir? Good. Okay,
Take it off and start back over.
sorry to hear that. Okay. Gotcha. Just do, yeah, I guess just do the intro, then I'm just gonna ask a couple of questions from, I mean, how many people are currently living in the house? 3 people, okay. Okay, alright, it's only 3 people, okay.
Dogs, animals?
Okay, alright. What was I gonna say? Is there any special, are there any pets around or special considerations or anything? Okay. Okay. Alright. And what, I'm sorry, and I don't have it in front of me, what was the gentleman's name again? James? Jason, that's it, okay. Alright, okay. But yeah. Yep, okay. Alright, this, okay. Thank you. This is, it's gonna be on mute for a little bit. I'm still here, yep.
Okay, you didn't have anything else before I add him in?
No, you can add him in.
Okay.
Thanks, thanks. It just pauses, he's not talking yet. In a few minutes, he should start talking.
Okay.
Okay.
Ese cliente que me gusta.
El que va a hablar ahora es Tony, que es el otro franchise partner de allá de Appleton y lo de Disney. Y el cliente se van a reunir ahora para hablar de los detalles y de las cosas. Un poquito dedicado al trabajo porque yo pensaba que había que pintar las paredes también. Me está tomando $35,000 por pintar todos los frames. Pues si pinta la casa completa, porque se te pone unos 25,000, pero obviamente yo no voy a pagar eso por pintar. Pero hay varias paredes oscuras, que cualquier overspray blanco o de primer la daña. O sea, básicamente tendríamos que tapar con
Cubrir toda la pared.
y en algunos casos, por lo menos la área de la cocina hasta el techo. Porque cuando hay uno para arriba o algo, sube.
No, obligado.
El asunto es que cuando uno spraya hay mucho polvo, entonces hay que tapar todo, casi no todo se va a llenar de polvo.
Y no sé si vamos a usar si hay que pintar baseboards y vamos a usar el quick shot.
Sí, vamos a usar la Quick Shot, la Cap Sprayer, o sea, la Quick Cap Sprayer y posiblemente las otras sprayers en alguna manera.
O sea, hay que cubrir obligado las paredes. Sí, eso complica la seguridad.
Yo rentaría, bueno, dependiendo, rentaría un trailer, como quien dice, para mudarlo para dentro del trailer ¿entiendes?
Sí, porque
Y un
caídas.
trailer de tanks que puede costarle $500 un trailer, de esas cajas de almacén que para mudarse la gente.
La casa móvil.
Pero en vez de. No, pero yo no digo la casa móvil de vivir, sino para las cosas, para las fornituras de trabajar. Porque o sea, es muy fácil pintar cualquier cosa con una máquina, que se zafe la presión, el plástico sobre.
Pero no somos nosotros.
No, que son extra costos que podemos incurrir, tener que pintar una que otra pared o varias paredes, o tener que reemplazar un sofá o algo que quién sabe cuánto cuesta porque se pintó o algo le pasó, ¿entiendes? O sea, hay un riesgo grande cuando hay mucha gente trabajando también, o sea, 7, 8 personas trabajando, y yo no creo que podamos acabar en una semana, especialmente por los detalles que van a salir después de eso,
Sí,
pero.
siempre va a haber detalle en un trabajo tan grande así.
Sí, yo creo que está bien. Si se llega a chorrear algo hay que lijar y todo ese tipo de cosas hay que trabajarlo.
Sí,
Dice que nos va a dar 150 de bono, dijo, si terminamos como que en el tiempo, pero que también va a haber overtime disponible, o sea que posiblemente vamos a llegar a las 8 de la mañana todos los días, quizás 8:30, y quizás en las 6 de la tarde todavía tenemos.
Lo que quiero.
Y está bien,
Cansado de estar durmiendo más.
porque tampoco, o sea, estamos fuera de todo, no hay nada que podamos hacer fuera de nuestro entorno familiar. Comer, que sea la oficina. Ah. Y comer. Pero sí, yo creo que si trabajamos duro y con maña, podemos
Bueno, tiene que ponerlo que
Solo hay que organizarnos.
organizar los grupos que son.
hay que asignar como grupos por puerta, por gabinete, o por baseboards. El asunto es que cuando uno echa primer, yo le puedo hablar del proceso que le apliqué a mi gabinete. A ver, eso porque creo que el mejor proceso quizá para estos gabinetes va a ser, en este caso específico, como son tantos, va a ser lijarlo a manita. Y no usar primer de aceite, usar el bonding primer, usar bonding primer y sacarle el brillo con lija, que es un poquito más sucio y un poquito más trabajo, pero para no usar el primer de aceite que
Tomamos el tiempo para.
así, o sea,
secar.
y las máquinas, o sea, si se tapan las máquinas, nos fregamos porque no podemos trabajar, ¿entiendes? Necesitamos llevarnos las maquinitas que tenemos y quizás comprar 2 maquinitas más y tenerlas esperar ahí, un trabajo así de grande. Porque que se pare una máquina o 2 máquinas, no es, ¿sabes? No es como trabajo. Se para una, entonces esa es otra opción. O sea, rentada, que se pueden rentar, no tienen ni que comprarse, se puede rentar. Pero por 2 semanas, por lo menos comprar una. Porque 2 máquinas rentadas por 2 semanas posiblemente van a ser unos 300, 400 dólares por cada una. Y eso cuesta uno. Así. Entonces, si le dan un buen precio, quizá pueden tener una maquinita, entonces tenemos varias gente. Obviamente si hay...
Heather, it's everyone here. Oh, perfect, it's recording. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Appreciate everyone giving their time to jump on here. This is a follow-up from kickoff where you would have met David from Marsh McLennan, who are a partner of ours, in order to...
Perdón, esto es un entrenamiento que obviamente si lo completamos, él lo mete a su seguranza y se ahorra como, qué sé yo, 100 o 200 dólares mensuales en eso.
Drive a safety culture within the Wyoming painting system. And on a quarterly basis, we're going to be doing these webinars in order to help everyone. It's informative. So today the topic is going to be about working from heights. Specifically, this is good timing as we're all heading into the exterior season. People are going up on ladders, they're getting lifts. I know safety isn't the most exciting topic to talk about, but it is one of the most important because we really want to be able to drive a safety culture within the system. With that, I do want to welcome David Rumsey from Marsh McLennan, who is a partner of ours, and he's going to walk through today some of the stuff that could be new and some of the stuff you would have heard before, but it's all very important as we head into exterior season and interior season here. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to
Esto va a ser un entrenamiento de escaleras, más porque ya voy a empezar de trabajar allá afuera, en el exterior. So, ellos ahorita van a hablar de estar seguro cuando subes una escalera. Y eso,
Yo no aguanto más.
To David.
Well, great. Thank you, Lee. That's a great introduction, and thrilled to be working with WOW. And today's presentation is working at heights. And for our 30 minutes or so that we're going to be together, I just want to give you a brief agenda and overview.
eso va a ser trabajando en las alturas, asegurarse con las escaleras, protección.
Recursos de seguridad.
First of all, I'm a safety consultant with MMA. I've got lots of years of experience in helping clients, and in particular, fall protection I'm pretty passionate about. So I hope that comes through today. We're going to be talking about a systems approach to safety and fall prevention. Then I'm going to cover ladder safety, personal fall arrest systems, and as we like to call them in the US, MUPS, mobile elevated work platforms, or as you may know them, boom lifts, scissor lifts, or aerial lifts. And then at the end of our presentation, we want to just give you a sneak preview of all the resources we're going to share with you right after the webinar event. So thanks for your time today. As we enter into our webinar, I just also want to recognize that there are some changes or differences in regulatory approach. So in the US, we have OSHA, and of course, abide by the 6-foot fall trigger height for fall protection. In Canada, it's generally 3 meters or 10 feet. Slight difference there. In the US, the equipment safety approvals are ANSI. In Canada,
¿Cómo que no sabe? Está hablando de la diferencia de OHC y OSHA, que son dos compañías diferentes de safety. Una opera en Canadá y otra opera en Estados Unidos. No sé si la otra opera también en Estados Unidos, pero está hablando de la diferencia en safety entre Canadá y Estados Unidos. Y los requerimientos. Por ejemplo, Estados Unidos tiene US, tiene Safety X, y Canadá tiene metros, lo cual es lo mismo, solamente que metros, y así sucesivamente.
CSA, so you're looking for those approval tags on your equipment. And then, as I've become familiar with some of the Canadian regulations, some of the provinces require a working from height certification. And so, for example, Ontario is one of those provinces that does require that worker certification. And that's from certified vendors. That certificate is required to be available on site, as I understand it. Some of the provinces even go further and say that all work at heights must be done with 3 points of contact. Of course, if you're working from a ladder trying to paint, that could be pretty challenging to have just one hand available to paint. So we have to abide by these regulations, recognize the differences, and understand our local regulatory requirements. Here's my systems approach. I'm a systems safety believer. I think we need to have really good systems all through our safety process to make sure employees are safe. And I think that starts right at the beginning to identify fall hazards when we're estimating projects. Your sales team, your project estimators can help us. They can gather photos and information about the project before it even begins. Pass that along to number 2 in the pre-planning phase of project.
El primero es identificación de los peligros cuando estás arriba en las escaleras. Eso más para leer,
Sí, pero uno sabe, pero por ejemplo, en mi caso yo me trepo en una escalera y antes de que yo supiera estas cosas, yo miraba, si me caigo, ¿dónde voy a caer? Aunque no hubiera ley, ¿entiendes? Son cosas que a veces uno piensa como que, ¿qué puedo hacer? Entonces la primera era identificar, ¿verdad?, dónde puede haber un peligro, la preplanificación, la selección de equipo que se usa para la altura y la supervisión. Es posible que algunos nos montemos en una escalera y nos sintamos cómodos, pero venga alguien y nos diga, mira, ten cuidado aquí, 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 y sean lugares o áreas ciegas que nosotros no nos estamos dando cuenta, pero alguien más lo vio y siempre hay que prestar atención a eso.
Project managers can look at that information and say, what kind of equipment are we going to need to keep our employees safe on that job site before we even mobilize to move the crew to that job site? Step 3, we have to make sure that we've provided the right equipment, selected the right safety equipment, and make sure it's readily available to the employees on the job site. In my 30 years of safety experience, I can tell you this happens quite often. Employees or crews at the job site have a 6-foot ladder, then they need an 8 or 10-foot ladder. So they're making do, they're taking shortcuts to get the job done because that's what they have. So pre-planning is so important. And then lastly, in this 4-step process, just training and supervision, whether it's the working at height certificate and or training that you provide your employees, it's so vital, especially when you've got young workers that maybe not worked on ladders before. We have to make sure they understand the risks.
Que siempre es bueno estudiar los riesgos. Bueno, las personas jóvenes somos como con mayor riesgo por de repente por los riesgos que a veces tomamos como jóvenes. Que por ejemplo que hay trabajos que tenemos una escalera de 6 pies, pero necesitamos 10 pies. Se supone, según la ley, que nosotros, ¿sabes? Que cuando estamos los últimos 3 escalones de la escalera de 6, se supone que nosotros tenemos de arriba para abajo en el tercero. Después de ahí, estás rompiendo una regla de safety. Porque te puedes caer y no te vas a poder agarrar de ningún lado. Esa escalera se va y te fuiste. Entonces, casi siempre a veces pasa que lo que tenemos es lo que tenemos y no quiere pues avanzar. Pero tiene que tener cuidado con esas cosas. Gracias.
And all of the safety precautions. And then lastly, the supervision here. On a job site, there's constant changes that need to be addressed, whether we're moving equipment, setting it up, monitoring our workers to make sure they're using safe work practices. All of these steps are vital. And in my world, I think that these steps keep repeating over and over throughout the projects and from job to job. So I'll hopefully reference that systems approach again later. First, I'd like to talk about ladder safety. And this is probably the biggest use of equipment that you have out there in the field is step stools and step ladders, perhaps some extension ladders as well. The number one or top causes of falls from ladders that we see is typically some sort of instability, whether it's improper setups, the ladder is unstable, or that employees are too high, their center of gravity is too high on the ladder and it becomes unstable, or that they're overreaching, kicking the ladder up to one side or the other. We often, not often, but sometimes see that ascending or descending the ladders carrying things up or down the ladders can cause employees to lose their balance. Descending a ladder is particularly challenging because you don't tend to look at your feet and you might miss a rung. So we've seen falls from that. Environmental factors, ice, snow, mud, terrain, slippery.
So, estos son como que las causas de caída de escalera, la estabilidad, el setup de la escalera, o sea, está mal puesto, es muy alto. Cuando está muy alto, por ejemplo, una escalera de 32, de 40, está muy alto, ellas hacen como esto. Y es como que agarran una curva en el medio y no es tan estable como si estuvieras en el piso, no te vas a caer tampoco, pero esa sensación de inestabilidad se siente. Es una
O sea, la escalera no se cae, aunque tú mismo te caes.
Sí, la escalera no se va a caer de ahí, la escalera aguanta 600, 300 libras, la escalera de 40, 60. Pero lo que uno siente en ese movimiento es diferente y esos son 4 caídas. Ascending y descending, claro, uno usualmente se sube a la escalera, se va aguantando, pero tú no estás mirando, ¿entiendes? Tú vas mirando para arriba y tú sabes que cada pie más o menos está la escalera, eso es como que muy natural. Pero sería fenomenal que uno pueda mirar y todo eso. El ambiente, ¿cómo se dice?
El environment.
Sí, el ambiente pues también puede ser que haya nieve en el piso, mud que es tierra, terreno, el terreno,
El terreno puede estar en...
uneven, puede estar no, desnivelado.
Free floors, all of these need to be taken into account. And again, that 4-step process. Identify the hazard, plan for it, what are we going to do, implement that change, whether it's a piece of equipment, and then supervise and monitor that. To illustrate what I'm talking about in the sort of serious nature of ladder falls, I'd like to show this video, and while it's playing, I just want to illustrate that this is a video we're going to send to you after the webinar. I would highly recommend you show this to your employees. It is a great training opportunity. I show it at all of my ladder safety trainings, and I think it really starts that conversation about safe use on ladders. And I think you're going to get some return on investment from this one. So here we have this gal in the store. She's too high on the ladder. She's overreached. She's impaled herself on a glass case down below. She's seriously injured. And now we have to really question, was she properly trained? Did she have the right equipment? What was her employee coworker doing? Could she have said something or helped? There's so many different aspects of what we could talk about in this video, and I often will replay this 2 or 3 or 4 times to get everybody's brain around what went wrong. And if you can teach or coach an employee using this short video clip, I think you're going to be far ahead. Nobody wants to fall. So I hope that's good for you, and we'll send that right after the event. Now, I probably shouldn't promote a particular manufacturer, but I just got handed to Werner Ladders. Werner Ladders came out some years ago with what they call their Lean Safe Step Ladder. And here in this left illustration, you can see that these ladders, their Lean Safe Ladder, can be used, the step ladder can be used while it's folded up and leaned against a wall. That's very unique among step ladders. Back over to the left side of this graphic, there's a notch here. So you can place this ladder on an outside corner of 2 converging walls. That's pretty unique. And if you go so far as to get the 5-in-1 Werner ladder, you can see that it turns not only from a step ladder, but to a short extension ladder. And it's got the gorilla type ladder effect of being able to adjust those legs for stairways. Really powerful tool in a step ladder. So I just want to say that equipment is important. What we bring to the job and its ability to provide a safety solution is really vital. I just like these lean safe ladders. So along the lines of ladders, we have to also make sure we've got the proper attachments that'll help us get the job done safely. My understanding, talking.
So, en el caso de la escalera pasada, es una escalera fire-and-one como la herramienta, que tiene múltiples propósitos. En general, yo creo que, pues, o sea, no es que quería promocionar ni nada, pero que son escaleras que son muy versátiles, pero hay que saberlas usar. No hace que uno la abra y mantenerla puesta y ese tipo de cosas. Entonces, aquí hay cosas que hemos usado, cosas que no hemos usado, pero de igual manera, estas escaleras que están allá a la derecha están muy de moda ahorita. sí está una buena. Eso te ayuda a que si tú estás moviendo de arriba de un lado para otro, pues ya no
Porque
se
la brisa también.
estabilidad.
Sí.
Andamos como aquellos casi nunca usamos, a menos que sea algo muy especial. Lo que hacemos es que nos movemos y ya. El escalón negro sí lo hemos usado. Y aquella escalera que está arriba a la derecha nunca la hemos usado, pero también es una escalera que está de moda, aunque presiento que una escalera como esa, yo prefiero el triángulo, una escalera como esa, eso es llena de tierra, se tranca y es un lío, pero bueno.
Working with Lee, the pivot tool you see here on the left side. This pivot tool has been pretty popular for leveling off a stairway system for a ladder. Great tool, affordable. You might need a non-slip mat for slippery type floors. You're inside on a polished floor. How do you keep that ladder from kicking out like an extension ladder? This is one idea. Over on the right side, ladder stabilizers and leveler adjusters for extension ladders. These are great add-ons for extension ladders. They don't typically come with the ladder when you purchase them. These are add-ons that you select and use and add yourself. And then here in the middle, I just want to address ladder jacks. If you're using ladder jacks on the outside of the house, for example, we have to understand that there's extra safety provisions here. In the US, when you're above 10 feet on a ladder jack system, you have to have a personal fall arrest system. So my recommendation, ladder jacks are fine. Let's not have the platform be over 10 feet. That's my best recommendation. Above 10 feet, Canada and US, you need a fall protection system. And that gets complicated. Where you're gonna tie off, where you're gonna put anchor points. So ladder jacks maybe have that little bit of a limit.
Nunca tenemos eso.
¿Qué cosa?
Que dice de cada 10 pies hay que tener algo para asegurarse que no se cae ninguna persona.
No hay eso, ¿no?
Nunca tenemos eso.
So ladder accessories is what I was trying to highlight in that particular slide. And now on this slide, I just want to talk about ladder safety inspections. They should be done pre-use. You know, we want to make sure that our side rails, rungs, rivets, locking arms, and all that, all those are good to go. In fact, here in the US, if so much as a label's been defaced or is missing, that ladder's defective. It has to have all of its labels intact. As far as ladder inspections, I'm going to throw it over to Warner Ladder.
Y los labels de la escalera están arrancados o malos, esa escalera está defectuosa.
Again, we're going to give you the link to view this ladder safety video from Werner. It's 3 minutes and super good training for your employees. I highly recommend you use this ladder safety inspection video from Werner. And again, look for that after our webinar. As you ascend the sort of the roof line or the exterior of the home that you're working on, you might have, say, a gabled end or a gabled window that you need to paint. You need to get on that roof. And the idea of a roof ladder may be a good solution for you. This ladder is called the GOAT. And it allows, as you can see this worker on the right, it allows you to hook that up over the peak and ascend this roof line using a ladder type device. These are portable, and it could be a solution to keep your workers safe. Of course, if you can't stay on a ladder system like this and you need to move around on the roof, you're going to need personal fall arrest systems. So I'm going to talk now about personal fall arrest. And this is such an important topic. I literally could talk for hours about this and all of the variances and requirements and potential downside or pitfalls of PFAS. But I just have a few slides that I think highlight the importance. This graphic on the left talks about the hierarchy of controls for fall protection. And if ever you can do the work from the ground, of course you would, right? Why put your employees at risk if you can? May not be practical in the painting process, or maybe you're cleaning a roof. You just simply need to be up there. The second illustration we have here is passive fall protection, like being behind a guardrail. It's pretty rare that you're going to be allowed to implement or install guardrails on a home or similar. It's probably not going to happen very often, if ever. The third idea here in the hierarchy is called fall restraint. You're using a fall harness, you're using an anchor point, and probably a rope wrap system, maybe retractable, depending on how it's measured in length. But I just want to illustrate on the right side of this slide. That's me on my roof using my fall protection system, demonstrating restraint. Notice how the rope wrap behind me, it's tight, right? I can literally not fall off the edge of my roof. And trust me, it's not just what you see in the photo. There's a whole other layer of driveway down below with the garage door that you can't see. It would be quite a fall. So fall restraint is an important concept. Using fall arrest systems, but using them in a restraint mode so you literally can't have your employees falling off the edge. If they don't fall off the edge, you don't have to rescue them. You don't have that physical harm of them falling and being snapped to a stop. It's really important concept, okay? Next, number 4 is personal fall arrest system. Does allow you to fall. In the US, you're allowed to free fall up to 6 feet, then decelerate. In the US, OSHA says you're not allowed to hit the ground before you stop. So you have fall clearance distances to consider, you've got all kinds of factors. I would avoid this if you can. It's not always avoidable. So fall restraint is my number 1 go-to. And then followed closely by, we need an anchor point. And I want to just show you this, it's called a safety gator. On the bottom right of this slide, you see the little cart down behind the house, and they put lifelines up over the peak of the roof and are using that in the fall restraint mode. That heavy cart is our fall restraint anchor point. There's another idea. In the top right of this illustration, you see that metal bar. That is a window or door opening. So imagine you have a gabled window up on the roof peak, and you can open that window. From the inside, you install this bar and adjust the width. There's an adjustment for the width. And then you softly lock that into place with a little thumb screw. It just sits behind the window frame. From the outside, you can then attach an anchor point, your fall protection harness, your fall retraction, retractable like you see here on the left, the red Rebel. Okay, so think about what is your anchor point going to be? Do you have a solution? Can you bring that to the job site? Has that been pre-planned? So I would love to get a call, a text, or an email if you have particular questions about fall restraint, what does that look like? Or maybe some anchor point solutions that perhaps you're seeing here for the first time on the screen that could be a viable option for you. Anchor points are the number 1 hindrance for fall protection. Where am I going to tie off? Okay, so I'll leave you with that, but please know you can always contact me and I can help you through any sort of conversation about fall protection. Here now we're just talking about inspection. We're going to send you 2 great videos from KPA who we do business with. These videos show how to inspect a harness, and on the bottom right, how to inspect your lanyard. These videos are short, to the point, super good, and we're also going to give you inspection forms. At least once a year you should document that you looked at your harnesses and lanyards and that they're in good condition. I highly recommend documenting that. Make sure you inspect those at least once a year. And then, of course, daily pre-use, your employees are looking at their equipment to make sure it works. Okay, so we're going to give you those resources. Want to make sure that you see them here as a preview. Now we're going to talk about MUPs, or in Canada they call them UPs, elevated work platforms. And so these are commonly called scissor lifts or boom lifts or aerial lifts, lots of names for them. I just want to point out that ANSI, the US Standard for Safety Equipment, back in 2018 came out with a new standard for MUPs. And the first part of their new standard says you have to do a site evaluation. You have to consider things like the terrain. What's the environment that you're going to be operating this MUP in? What are some of the considerations you need to make in terms of elevation? You know, what kind of lift will reach to the place you need to go? And what about other factors like power lines? All kinds of things to consider in this pre-site assessment. Okay, that's now required by the ANSI standard.
different.
Yep. Decide kind of what your environmental factors are. They'll lead you to the right equipment. What kind of equipment will get you to the right spot on that job site? So I think probably you might be occasionally renting a piece of equipment like this, and maybe it's a trailer mounted lift like you see in the third item to the right. Or maybe you have that delivered to the job site. But it's vital we pick the right equipment. Of course, we make sure our employees are trained in using the equipment, and then operating it safely, making sure that our aerial lift never comes into contact with the building, because that would cause property damage. Making sure we have maybe a spotter on the ground for rough terrain, maneuvering that lift, and lots of things to consider.
Ahí lo que hay que ver es el seteo y la posición que te pones, proteger la propiedad de daño, el contacto con el edificio, el terreno, cuáles son los riesgos alrededor y los obstáculos y obstrucciones y las líneas de corriente.
If we're going to use a lift. Now, I will say they are highly engineered for safety. If I were going to pick fall protection systems like a harness or a lift, I would always pick a lift. These are great tools if you can get your hands on them. So understand that the ANSI standard has been elevated. They're asking for a site assessment, equipment selection, employee training. It requires a daily pre-use inspection of the equipment. And there's just a lot of moving parts with this. Part of our follow-up today is we're going to give you some MUP training resources. So you'll enjoy seeing that on the links that we're sending after the event. Just a final thought on the boom lifts and scissor lifts. You have to use fall protection in the baskets in most cases. If you see an engineered anchor point like the middle of the screen, you need to wear a harness and have a lanyard connected to that. So my rule of thumb is anytime you have an anchor point in this type of equipment, we are going to be tied up. On the left, you see this is actually one of the other franchise partners using a trailer mounted aerial lift. And you see it's got outriggers, they're backed up, and being able to go high up into this peak of the home, it's a great tool. On the right side of this slide, you'll notice that's an exterior anchor point. You see the worker outside the basket on the roof, and there's a bracket on that aerial lift that allows him to tie off outside the basket. You think about the utility of that, that's a powerful tool for fall protection. All right, so that's a little bit on MUPs. And as we sort of wrap up our conversation, I just want to illustrate that we have to make sure our employees are able to pull a fire alarm. If they're concerned, if they're not sure, if they've never done a particular task before having to do with fall protection, we need to encourage them, the employees, to be able to stop work and ask questions. I think it's really vital that you communicate that to them. Say, look, if you're ever unsure, if you feel unsafe, talk to your supervisor. And supervisors need to be a willing coach, right? Not yelling back at the employer, having any sort of retribution or any sort of negative consequence. We have to take fall protection so seriously that any employee should be able to say, hey, look, I have a concern. I recommend a key word. Pick a word like, I've given a few examples. Stop work. Just that key word should get everyone on the crew to literally stop work and see what's happening. I think if we have a good cue and we've got good leadership on the job site, employees will feel safe to raise their hands. There has to be a high level of trust. Otherwise, what's going to happen? They're going to make decisions that could be potentially dangerous, right? So let's make sure our employees feel safe and able to stop work if needed. Now, these are the resources we're going to follow up with you today. On the left, we've got the Mischief Management Safety Handbook. Hard for me to say sometimes, but if you don't currently have a copy of the WOW Safety Manual, this has great information that echoes much of what I've said today. So you can look at the ladder section, the MUP section, the personal fall arrest section, great content. In the center, these are all the links to videos like that fall video I showed you, and many more. You can use these for trainings. We're also going to send you a cache of safety talks like you see on the right side of the screen. So plan to get lots of follow-up content that will be coming from MMA through your weekly WOW. That's my understanding is how we'll distribute. So I'd like to just stop now, tell you that this is my contact information. I would love to hear from you. My job is to help you with safety in all sort of aspects, not just fall protection, but maybe you've got other questions. So I dare you to call, or text, or email. We're going to open up for any comments in chat or live mics. If anybody has any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you.
No questions.
They show a kind of thing when we step onto the roof, just to use a kind of thing or harness or whatever to be there.
I have a question.
They recommend that every
Yes,
time
please.
use a harness.
So I have a job coming up in a few weeks where we're going to be painting a church steeple at a height of about 60 feet.
Yep.
This is the background.
Oh, it's a bad
The actual church is provided.
So it was let's see, you wanna listen to this?
Oh, that's fine.
Or at least a standpoint is the
If I
layout.
said a church steeple, I would tell them to go.
I'm working with the maintenance director at the church who's not really familiar with the operation.
Oh, they
So-
paint a church.
They're painting a church steeple.
But what questions should I ask?
This is
I'm
the
sure
beach.
they're qualified and they're gonna take all the safety precautions, but like
What,
him,
so
I'm
what was it,
completely
was it saying,
ignorant about
thing to put it to the roof?
whatever they're gonna be.
Yeah, they saw the
Well,
gold,
at 60
gold
feet,
handle or
You're gonna
something
get
like
all
that.
kinds of environmental factors.
It's similar to what we use, but they have some holes in where you can
Does
put
the
the
boom
harness
lift
in
have
there
a
just in case
two-person
you
basket?
prevent.
Oh, was it that one thing I thought? He said,
It's so long.
he says the industry standard.
Yeah,
I'll have to find it. I'll look for it and then I'll buy those.
There's extra safety provisions here. In the US, unique
This
among
thing,
stuff.
No,
Back over to
it's
the
a little.
go forward, no, go forward.
really powerful tool.
He talks about roofs and like roof
Attachments that'll help us get the job done safe. A stairway system for a ladder.
Do you guys ever use
Great
this thing in
tool,
the middle?
affordable.
No
You
me
might
acuerdo.
need a non-slip mat for slip.
El
The
goat,
right side
el
ladder
goat hand,
stabilizer.
para agarrarse los techos.
These are add-ons. For
El
example,
goats no.
we have to, high recommendation, heat limitation. Pre-use.
The garage is gonna be cleaned out.
Glass,
We can set up a spray booth in the garage.
over to warmer
So,
training for
I
your
want,
people.
look at that video.
As you,
Yeah, that,
This it,
yeah, the
window
compact
that
goat.
you compact leave it on that roof. And the idea of a roof ladder may be a good solution.
Se ve
for
que
you.
es plástico.
This ladder is called the goat, and it allows, as you can see this worker on the right, it allows you to hook that up over the peak
Con eso me siento
and
seguro.
ascend this roof line using a ladder type device. These are portable.
I mean, the
and it could be a
idea we got
solution
now with
to keep your
those.
workers
with
safe.
the ladder
Of
hooks.
course,
Yeah, the only thing we need
if
something
you
just to
can't
hook
stay on a ladder system
the
like
ladder
this,
and
and
then,
you need
you know, something we can just
move
put
around on the
those
roof.
and just.
Oh, a lanyard, like
Yeah.
a safety harness,
Yeah.
right?
So, I'm gonna
If
talk
you're
about
going out there
personal
naked.
fall rest.
Right, we're not gonna do that this year, we're
Such an
gonna use
important
safety
topic.
harnesses.
I literally could talk for hours about this and all of the variances and
All right,
requirements.
I'm gonna shut this guy, he just loves talking about safety. He did a presentation, I was in Vancouver, it's just me. I mean, I get it, you know, like, he's passionate about it, so that's great, okay? So, there's one child and 2 adults living in the house. And he said,
Everyone go work during the week or the.
yeah, they're gone. They're gone during the day. He said that, I asked him about the cabinets, if they're looking for that birch look, you know, like with the grain, and he said, you know, some of the grain, we're not looking for flat, so some of the grain can show through. you know, on the kitchen cabinets. But I told them Monday, by Monday we gotta try to build like a project schedule. You know, I told them that we'll be attacking the kitchen first, you know, and then some of the, we'll have to figure out, like maybe this sunroom and this room and like, but,
Yeah, the rooms attached together.
what?
Those rooms are attached to the kitchen.
Well, see right here, this is that sunroom.
Yeah.
Going in there.
Y tal vez comenzando con la cocina y los cuartos que están cerca de la cocina.
Maybe dinner on the stove. But, you know, we're gonna attack this kitchen, these cabinets. They're gonna take everything out of the cabinets.
They take it off and
Yeah, they're gonna take everything
Van
out
a
of the
sacar
cabinets.
todos.
we don't have to paint the insides, just the edges.
Just the outsides. And then,
¿Se va a pintar por dentro?
the island's gonna be a this is gonna be a different color. These are gonna be white, and this is gonna be gray.
Gray, light gray or something.
They haven't picked it out yet. But everything should be out of the garage, cause he's having the floor done. And he said we can set up a spray booth in the garage.
Se va a crear todo en el garaje.
That garage have to be painted, right? You said?
Yes, the walls and the ceiling have to be painted.
So maybe we don't have to cover
Well, the floors.
the floor, but not the walls necessarily. We have to paint it.
Se va a pintar
It's just optics though again, you know what I'm saying? Like if he comes back, it just
For the
looks,
dust and stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Paint the walls like.
right. But this is the garage we're painting, so we have to, you know, we painted garages before, we just have to cover all this with plastic, cover all those lights with plastic, right?
¿Es el mismo garaje o dentro?
Es un triple, tiene dos para entrar y uno para entrar.
Alright. Okay. What did you think of the safety training? Did you glean anything off of
It's
it?
good. They show some different letters. We don't handle them, but they should be good to have.
Is there anything you saw that we should get?
I don't think so. Yeah, good from what we have. Well, they have some letters. We have those black triangles.
Yeah, the pivot tool?
Yeah, that's good for.
Okay.
You know, they have a letter with those attaching to them, but sometimes they'll kind of additive just get stuck or
Okay.
get damaged.
So Monday, I'm gonna meet him at the house at 8:30. I'd like to have you guys there by 9. So the 29th, you're gonna have to probably leave here by 7 o'clock. So we're gonna take the van. Nick's driving up on his own, cause I'll give you some money for gas. He's driving up on his own because he's coming back early.
Who?
Thursday. Nick, he's gonna come back Thursday.
Yeah, te regresas al jueves.
You Thursday morning or Thursday night?
No.
Okay.
So tú vas a trabajar todo el jueves.
Sí.
Okay. Lunes, martes, miércoles y jueves.
And then I'm gonna talk to him on,
Te vas a quedar el domingo.
like to try to get out of there by reasonable time on Friday, so you guys don't have to, get home so late. So we'll see how things progress.
Oh, I just imagine myself it's like a 3 hours wait, but now it's 100 hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad, right? No.
El domingo te lo sábado.
Well, you and I are gonna have to talk on Monday to build out the schedule and figure out, I don't wanna have it overstaffed, but I don't wanna have it understaffed, you know? Okay.
Because the plan what you told me was we start Monday and then we come, if we don't finish by that week, we come back Friday afternoon, right? And then we come back up on Monday.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean,
The-
if we gotta go back up on Monday, the following week, that eats into this.
Okay,
Cash
the
bonus.
other question I have
That's
is
mean I gotta pay more money for hotel rooms and gas and everything else.
the kind of wide they decide for the doors and stuff, is it kind of super wide,
I
or
think
is
so.
maybe
I'll have to get
like
it.
a yellowish one, those like silicone or something?
That's called Tony, it's in the.
Because I apply on a specific process for my cabinets, which I like a lot. I know use oil-based primer, I use the bonding primer. I sand, even when they come since new, I sand lightly down. I apply the first coat of primer, I slide it down again, sand that down again. Even the first coat of paint, I just lightly sand it and apply the finish coat, and that is super nice and super good and smooth. I don't use the oil-based primer. It's just to avoid, that kind of smell, and put oil-based primer into the machines because sometimes
Yeah. Whatever you say,
stop the machine.
whatever you think,
But it's a little bit more longer process for them. That's why
whatever you
sharing.
think. I mean, I want it to be a, you know, a quality outcome, right? So if you feel comfortable doing it that way, we'll just do it that way. Right? Okay. Alright. Things we need, we're good, you know, everybody accomplished your plate, the cleanliness has been good, the things we still gotta
Eso para
improve,
mejorar.
the thing we still gotta improve on, which we're not doing, I mean, we're not doing as good as we can. Organizing the bins and inventory, like too many times, like,
Pero con
so
solo
we-
temas que estamos bien con los clientes y estamos limpios. Hay que hacer, mejorar la organización, el inventario.
we gotta do a better job on the inventory, like, oh, we used four 4-inch rollers today, and we used this. Keep track of it on paper, then restock it when we get back the next day. Then we're not buying stuff at the store when we get stuff in the warehouse, the storage locker, right? So you need to identify somebody, somebody's gotta take ownership of this, and they're gonna be in charge of like inventory management for the day. You're gonna have to assign somebody that job.
Sí, estamos buscando asignarle a alguien el inventario que tiene que, cuando se usen cosas de la caja, ir al storage locker, a donde tenemos las cosas y sacar lo que se necesita para reemplazar y tener otra vez ahí disponible.
Quality checks, we still are not having other people come in and check the quality.
Algunas veces es bueno llamar a otra persona para verificar la calidad y lo que estamos haciendo, no necesariamente yo, para que otra persona, mírame este cuarto un momento que pinté o esto que hice, a ver si está todo bien.
We've just had a couple of smaller quality issues recently we've got to go back on, which cuts into the margin, you know. We're not even coming close to doing one in the neighborhood. Like, you've had that stack of door hangers and that.
Well, we do in the house, the exterior one where we paint the brick.
Yeah, you did in that neighborhood.
We do that neighborhood.
Okay.
¿Dónde fue la otra casa que pusimos los door hangers? Que pusimos en los mailbox y eso. ¿Qué
You
casa
can't
era?
put them in mailbox. You don't put them in mailbox, well, because that's illegal.
No, closer to the I think was the neighborhood of
La cosa que se ponen en la
where I
puerta.
go yesterday.
Oh, that one you did with door
Yeah,
hangers?
Stacy or Crystal?
Yeah, Crystal.
Crystal. We do Crystal too.
Yeah.
Donde fuimos a buscar esta pedra.
Yeah, yeah, and where we pick up the letters, Crystal
Okay.
neighborhood we do.
Okay. But we gotta do more, when we're in a smaller neighborhood like that, we gotta go out and do that. You know, like, what about Stacy's neighborhood?
I think Stacy can do that.
No, that's, but we gotta like get consistent to do it all the time.
Hay que mejorar eso. poner más cosas.
Siempre hacerlo, porque son para trabajo.
And we're still not closing doors.
Y cerrar la puerta.
Gotta close doors, we don't leave doors.
No podemos dejar
When you
la puerta
walk in,
abierta.
shut the door, when you shut the door, we don't leave doors open.
Sí, no podemos dejar la puerta abierta porque si tienen animales o se pierde un perro o lo que sea.
Alright. That's pretty much it, I mean, you guys can stay punched in,